Hello, YouTube fans. This is TheSkullKlown. I want to talk about Ted, the TV series. I do have the DVD right here. I have this version of the DVD, Ted versus Flash Gordon. I never actually owned the Ted movie, so when I did saw this as an opportunity to grab, I grabbed it. It's a beautiful cover. It really is. And look at that. You know, to me, if there was a Ted 3, this is what should have been it. If not, do a you know how Family Guy does parodies of like Star Wars and some and stuff like that. If we ever get a Ted 3, there should be like a parody of a movie or some shit like that at this point. But making fun of it or some shit like that. I know some people might not like that because Family Guy has done it so many times and we've seen it from Seth MacFarlane so many times too. But they don't have to do that. I'm not saying they are, but you know how Hollywood is. And if you notice Seth MacFarlane's nature in a way, um, most likely that would happen. I know some people don't. They look at some people look at the TV series and kind of hate it because they think it's they're putting like political shit in all that crap, and they're making fun of like stuff and everything like that. But I was laughing my ass off, to be quite honest with you, when I was watching the show, and it was relatable because some of the stuff that you did heard about in the '90s was there. But I know some people will be like, "Isn't this? Didn't this came out in the '90s?" And they talking about 2023 shit, and I'm all like, "Yeah, guys, that was still in the '90s. I'm sorry, it wasn't as potent as it is right now, but it was there in the '90s. You know." And again, going back, it wasn't as potent as it was. The reason you didn't notice is because you were a kid in the '90s that grew up in the '90s. I did too, but guess what I did? I look back at my history of the '90s, and it wasn't as different as it is right now. Sorry. Sorry, boo boo. Really. Come on, guys. Come on. This is what I'm talking about. You guys don't know your history. Not all of you, but there's some people out here that just don't know their history, and it's fucking sad. It's no. It's sad. It is, it's sad. People from the 50s and 60s and even 70s knew their history and they knew what shit was up. And then all of a sudden in the 80s and 90s and even 2000s, shit people just fucking forgot. Not even in the 90s or 80s, people still remembered all that shit. Even in a little bit of the 2000s, it's just until 2005 and not even 2005, I'll say around 2007. That's when things actually changed to the point that no one didn't want to go back to their history because the internet age was getting more potent. YouTube was becoming an icon like crazy because YouTube started in 2004. To be quite honest with you, YouTube was a baby still, and it was growing like crazy. And then Hollywood was starting to take notice of it too, but they didn't come until 2010 or 11. So, not to say they weren't there keeping up, but Hollywood started to notice with something with YouTube, and they're like, "Nah, we can't have that. We need to take this shit over." And I was just like, "Fuck all of you, fuck all of you." And now that's how YouTube is the way it is now. YouTube shouldn't be like this. YouTube was never supposed to be like that. It was literally about a person that can make a video like you and me to shoot it. That's what originally YouTube was. Because it was hard to find a website that you can actually put your own opinion in shit. So the TED stuff does. I hope maybe in the next season Ted goes a little bit deeper in that, but also make fun of it because because it's true. But again, people need to learn their history here. But going back, man, um, Ted, the TV series, is actually pretty good. John's mom is pretty hot, and she's adorable, and she should be cherished. She should be taken care of. Seriously, she should be literally taken care of because, good God, that woman, what she goes through in the show, I am dead serious. And her husband is quite different from what you see from Homer and Peter, to be quite honest with you. Because I know some people might be like, "Oh, he's probably like the same thing that you see in Family Guy sitcoms and one of those guys and stuff like that." But in a way, he is. But at the same time, he's pushed to the point that he's not. He's like you will not like him probably, but some people will be like, "Oh, I can see why they did that," especially if you met these type of people or you grew up with these type of people. You know, you know. And it's funny too, because John's cousin, she's great in the show too. but some of her comebacks are like it's 90s, right? And since it's part of the 90s, she's doing things that you think about now and you'll be like, bitch, what are you talking about? That wouldn't fly today. But at the same time, the show knows it. The show knows it. It's almost like looking at the 90s. This I think this show takes place in 92, but I also heard it take place in 93, which I was born in 93. So it's either from 92 to 93. I will say that right now. But I think the show was great. I'm about to finish the last episode right now. And I can't pick one. I mean, the Halloween episodes is always my I'm always a sucker for Halloween episodes. So when we had a Halloween episode here, this was pretty good right here. And I found out that there was a Disney movie that was actually a horror movie, and I didn't even know that. I had to make sure that no, this has to be literally made by Disney and not by Touchstone Pictures or somebody else that is not some other umbrella on Disney. It literally needs to say Walt Disney for me to literally be like, okay, it is a Disney horror movie. And this one, in the movie that we mentioned in the Halloween episode is, and I'm like, holy shit! I probably heard of that movie. Hold on, but I never actually watched it. So I know some people say it's pretty good. I mean, some of the clips that I've seen from the show probably doesn't do a justice of this movie, but that's fine. That's fine. A lot of movies do that. I mean, it's like watching Halloween 1 and you see the clips from the thing. Does it really do when you watch a little bit clip of a movie? Does it really do it justice compared to you watching the movie instead? Instead of just watching a clip that's in the movie. So that's just me. So let's see. Where was that movie that I was putting? Okay, you know what? I could just put this. Not to say Disney hasn't done horror before. I mean, look at the original Mickey Mouse shorts that they had skeletons and shit like that. You know? So the skeleton dance is a classic, obviously. I do like, to be honest, I like the skeleton dance from the Warner Brothers version, even though I know some people be like, "Oh, that's a brain rip off of the skeleton dance from Disney," and I'm like, "Yeah, but to me, I like it better." Oh, and it's called "Hitting on a Trail for Hallelujah Land." That is what it's called. I remember that. That's part of the Censor 11. It's actually not a bad short. The reason it's censored is because there's a character called Uncle Tom there. That's the only if it wasn't that, the short would probably have been called as pretty fun. It doesn't have to be like Disney, but it was a pretty fun. And I guarantee you back then probably someone didn't care. You know why? Because you know how sometimes back in the day they just did reruns of shit and some other company would make the same one just because um people haven't went to the theaters for a while or some shit like that. It's some shit back then that they had to do. I mean, what they did back then in animation. I forgot what it truly was. I can't really think of the word. But you know how sometimes you've seen old episodes of Looney Tunes and you'd be like, okay, that's cool. And then another season of Looney Tunes, they have the same story of a cartoon that they just did not that long ago. And I'm just like, guys, why you did this twice? You know? There's a lot of that, and that's kind of bad too. It's in the Looney Tunes collection box set. They have a lot of the same episodes like that, and it kind of fucks it up a bit. It's good that it's there for historic value, obviously, because it's a historic collection. But sorry, moving on. I'm supposed to be talking Ted here, but sorry. I want to look at you guys while I'm doing this because I'm looking for something right now and I just can't find it right now. So this show Ted is pretty good, and they did recast the mom and dad, which I was kind of in shock they did. Not that in shock, not in shock to the point that I was just like, what the fuck are you doing? Um, but I thought it was I thought the people that they did cast to play the mom and dad for John and to be basically the parent figure for Ted is hilarious. It's hilarious. I mean they're pretty good and they're hilarious too. They both have their moments sometimes, but also well the mom has more moments obviously. Good God. the shit that they do, um, with her, I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. Um, so yeah, I can't fucking find it right now. I can't find it. I want to pay attention more to what I'm doing right now than just thinking about finding some movie that Disney made in the 80s, I think, right? No, it was in the 90s, right? The fuck is this? Um, so Ted, if you watched Ted, 1 and 2, if you enjoyed one a lot, I love Ted 1. Ted is great. You know, I have the teddy bear of Ted in my house. I'm in my mom's house, but it's in my house. So here, obviously, you see the Ted DVDs here, and Ted 2. This is the unrated version. Ted 2. Um, I know some people might hate Ted 2. I'm not. It's not my favorite Ted movie, obviously, because it's all literally Family Guy skits, and I wouldn't mind all that much if if we didn't see the same skits in Family Guy. You know, some people might be angry at this movie, the second Ted movie, and be like, "It is the lazy cash grab," and I wouldn't blame you if you said that. I thought that too when I was watching this, when I first watched the Ted movie. Not to say I wasn't having fun or still laughing my ass off with it, but some of them put me out of it to the point that I'm like, I saw this in Family Guy. What the fuck are you doing? And then when they didn't do something in Family Guy that they already did, I was like, okay, that's fun. That's freaking hilarious. But that's all. That's all Ted 2 is. You know, I'm sure maybe the underrated version is better because I've just seen. I haven't. I have to probably rewatch that. I probably have seen the ungraded version, but it's been a while. It has been a while since I watched Ted 2. Ted 1, I probably can watch all day, you know. So, and anything else I could talk about with the TV show, it's just literally, to be honest, if you enjoyed the first 3 seasons of Family Guy, you probably like this show. You know, and that's not a bad thing. The first 3 seasons of Family Guy is great, you know? And some people might, and that might sound like a bad thing for me to say. And it's like, oh, for some people, they'll be like, then why should I even watch this? I'm like, no, you should watch it. Is there references to Family Guy? To be quite honest, there's not references, but there's things that you start noticing that you're like, you did that in Family Guy. You did that in Family Guy. And from what I've noticed, you only did that twice. Throughout this whole show, you only did 2 things in Family Guy, but they didn't went through with it. It's just they did something that you remind you of Family Guy, so you thought they were gonna redo that skit, but they never do. They never do. They just be like, oh, it's that, and you'd be like, so in a way, it's kind of like a callback, basically, because they're not redoing it. Thank goodness. They're just all like doing it to the point that you'd be like, ha, all right, but they don't go halfway through it, basically. Some people might be upset with that. So I have no problems with this. I really don't. Look, I get it. I really do get it. If some people might hate it because it's not probably what they wanted. At least with when you think of Seth MacFarlane, that's the thing. Seth MacFarlane is a whole different beast altogether with an animator. To be quite honest with you, he really is. He's all about he's all about Flash. He's all about Flash. He's all about Flash, and he's all about making those iconic characters. That's what works for him. You can't judge that. That's what works for him. For the people of South Park, you know what works for them? Looking at the world. Not to say Seth MacFarlane doesn't do that or put his own experience of what he went through as an animator or as a person, but at the same time, you know what he's good with highlights on. He loves music. You know, you could tell. Look at the Family Guy theme song. It's a good song. Still to this day, it holds up as a one of the best animation openings of all time, in my opinion. Yeah, you don't think so? I think so. I think it's very iconic, right next to Simpsons opening. Even with the King of the Hill opening and the South Park opening, Are you kidding me? All of that's the thing, man. Adult animation, even the ones that teenagers could watch, like Beavis and Butthead, those shows, man, they had something, man. They had something. Beavis and Butthead never had like an opening intro, but they had an opening theme that you heard. And yes, you had a title card and all that, and Beavis and Butthead being like right here. But it was not like more than what you see in Family Guy, South Park. It wasn't like those type of openings, which is not bad. Beavis and Butthead is not trying to do type of that. It's just trying to get to what it needs to do with two characters that are fucking crazy. I love Beavis and Butthead. As you know, I have like two T-shirts of them. For crying out loud, man. Beavis and Butthead is great. All right, and I even freaking have the. Look at this shit. I love Beavis and Butthead so much that freaking I got a freaking magnet of them. Look at that. All right, seriously. But yeah, that's how I kind of feel with Seth MacFarlane. To be quite honest with you, um, he does know a lot if you actually look at some of his Family Guy stuff. To be quite honest with you, you people talk about The Simpsons, but look at Family Guy, man. I'm not saying those shows predict anything or anything like that. It's in look. Some people, I know some. I don't know. We're gonna get into that. To be quite honest, that's a whole different video for a topic, and I'm not going to do that. Not here. This is about Ted, the show, and the show is really, really good. It is. It's fun. I had a fun time. It does what it needs to do, man. It just needs to be fun, make people laugh, and move on. You know, that's what Family Guy still kind of is all about. I've watched the newer Family Guy ones, and I know some people might look at Family Guy now and be like, "Look, this show is all about like people watch. If you're a pothead watching Family Guy, most likely that's what the show is for you, for potheads." And you know what? That's not a bad thing. When you look, and not to say that, and yes, I am a pothead, but not to say you can't still do well with the story and skits. I get that, of course, but Seth MacFarlane's not even there anymore. He wants to do his own shit. He still voices the characters, but he's not even there anymore, man. So one of the reasons why he made Ted, and the first Ted movie, like I said, is great. And then this series, what he did, it's pretty good. To be quite honest with you, like I said, I love the first Halloween. I love the Halloween episode, obviously, and the first episode is also really unique. As well, well, not unique, but really good as well. And there's a whole scene where obviously you've seen this scene before because it's been played to death, obviously, when he tries to get when John and Ted try weed for the first time and shit like that. you know it's so cool the way that when they do smoke weed they started thinking about other shit. Weed just makes you think, basically. That's just hilarious, really, really funny. And then there's another what is it there's another part in the show too, when you think a character, when you think that, what is it? Spoiler alert if you haven't watched the show. When 18 minutes in, uh, what is it? Ted feels that there's a man that's trying to get with John's cousin. She's like in her 20s, basically. Um, well, in college, basically. She's a college student, and he thinks he's trying to get with her. And by the end of the show, let's just say I won't spoil it for the people that will be like, nah, 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 I don't want to hear that. I won't tell you that. That shit, you find out what that guy is up to, and I'm just like, run, dun, 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 dun. Run. I'm just like, no. Oh man, seriously. And then there's a few episodes that are like that too, when John all of a sudden, I think, was it in one episode, literally John has somebody come over because her mom invites somebody in. I think that was the same. Yeah, it was on the Halloween, the Halloween episode. Man, going back to the Halloween episode, great. The Halloween episodes. Oh, I guess it's just that highlight for me, right? There's just fucking no reason for it. I think I should pass this since I talked about it way too much. Oh, and that there was one scene with it too. Damn, I can't even talk about that. I guess this whole video is just about talking about Ted the Halloween episode. Oh man, oh that's crazy. But there is one episode when you get more things on the parents. To be quite honest with you, especially the mom. There was one episode when you find out about the dad when about him in Vietnam, and you're like, huh, huh. You did what? You did what? So there is that. There is that. Okay. Uh, I keep thinking if there was any cameos. I don't think there is any cameos. No, I don't think there is. From what I'm thinking about it, because you think there would be some cameos, but I really can't think of any celebrity cameos that came through here. Uh, there is one episode when the dad wishes that his truck comes to life, and there you go, his truck comes alive. Some people might be like, okay, either you're going to be still continuing with the show or you're going to get out. This show tests how your imagination can go through, basically, or how ridiculous you can take a ridiculousness, basically. In my opinion, most likely everyone in the back was just like, well, we have a talking teddy bear, might as well have a talking truck, toy truck, and you're like, huh? At this point, anybody could do this, huh? Can you get that blow up doll or some shit? No. Some stupid shit like that. So again, this show is pretty good. The opening to this show is really good too. The song is really good. And I think that's the theme song for Ted anyways, from the first movie and the second one, I believe, right? Um it's just the theme song for Ted, and I think they did one an Emmy for that song. I could be gone. I could be gone. But it's really good. And the CGI on Ted is really good. It really is. It actually is really good. The only different is the only complaint that I have is that there is some scenes when Ted and a person's talking right next to them. It really Ted doesn't really look at well, no, it's not Ted. It's really the adults, the human characters. They don't like if Ted's right here and he's looking at me like right here. I'm basically looking at him right here, even though his eyes are up here. You know, does that happen a lot? No. That only happened once, from what I've noticed, and from that one time, really, am I really going to complain about it? Yo, the technology of how they put Ted there now, Stuck McFarlane doesn't even have to wear a suit to literally do motion capture at all. The level of technology that we have to bring a CGI character to life. There you go. You don't need a skeleton, motherfuckers. You just need a voice. You know? Obviously when you're CGI, you have to put stuff in it, duh. It's still animation. you know? But everything's great. I think it's really good. And there is some funny scenes, and then there's some other scenes you just be like, I need an adult. Oh man, this for real. And the references to the 90s stuff, yo, especially with the Aladdin shit, yo, classic. Classic. And there's a lot of posters, a lot of horror posters in one episode. When they another good episode, to be quite honest with you. John has a bully, and eventually John and Ted kind of fuck him up a little bit, not beat him up or anything like that. They fuck him up as in like they prank call him as his dad, and thinking that his dad's gonna see him. Then he puts a note, and then he talks to what is it? Ted talks to him over the phone and says how he feels about him, and then that's it. And he cries like crazy. And then Ted and John are looking at each other like, I feel bad. We fucked up, And it's good that they do that. Because if it was in Family Guy or in, dare I say it, eh, whatever. I guess I don't. I shouldn't compare it to American Dad and Family Guy, right? But yet here I am because Seth MacFarlane made this stuff. And he also made another animation movie that has the animation style of Family Guy. I forgot what that's called, but to be quite honest, a lot of people that hate Family Guy actually like that movie. And you couldn't blame them because they had no they had if Seth MacFarlane can do those type of stuff, I think people would be fine. Not to say this is bad, at least in my opinion. But I know some people always look more for their animation and look more for their story. And this one in the bully episode, in my opinion, I think it's pretty good. Not like to the point you like want to cry or so shit like that. You know, it's not that emotional. Where it's emotional to the point you be like that what they did is kind of hilariously fucked up. But when they try to act like the bully's a dad and shit like that, even when the bully finds out at the end, it's just great. It's just great. He's like, it's just like I'm going to take was it guitar lessons? It's like we be there every rehearsal. It's like is it guitar or piano? Either way, I don't give a fuck. It's like we always be there in every rehearsal. It's like, yo, man, it's just good. It's just good. That type of humor and that type of stuff. I don't know. I can never hate it. I don't know. Some people hate it. I guess that just shows their humor or the level C of how much they could take their humor. I don't know. Hey, I'm not them. I'm just me, and that's fine. You know. So, what do you guys think about Ted? You think the Ted TV show is fine, good, pretty watchable, or do you think that it's fine? I hope there's not a season two, basically, but there's not. There's going to be a season two. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Casual people that casual people are going to eat this shit up. You do know that, right? The casuals are going to eat the shit up. Even though I know I always say that the public don't know what they want, but the individual does. But trust me, a lot of people just like a talking teddy bear cursing and drinking and smoking. Can't blame them. You know, it's like looking at a baby doll that eventually is like it's like looking at baby Herman. You know, some people just look at that and just laugh at it. You're like your baby smoking or drinking or cursing. You know, so there's just that. You know. Obviously, some people be like, yeah, but there's a level to it. And I'm like, I know, of course. Some people see it as sometimes always funny, and sometimes people find it sometimes not always funny. It's just depending who you are. So, again, going back, if you like the TED show, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. If you don't, I could probably understand why. Well, overall, it's not really that much to be like, get a pitchfork or some shit for no reason. You're not gonna lose sleep at night. You just be like, eh, you know, or you'd be like that one guy in The Simpsons. Yeah, sure, why not? Yo, I love that shit. There's a reason why people use that fucking skit all the fucking time because it's true. It's like, hey, can I do this? Yeah, sure, why not? Like you just don't care. You're up to the point that you're like, hey, if it's better than the Disney shit, I think we're good. It's true. At this point, it really is. And I think that's a perfect way to close off. I'll see you guys later. And by the way, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the Santa Claus show and Percy Jackson and the Olympians, that's what Disney is doing good right now. Seriously. Watch those shows, by the way, if you haven't.